one commenter at Natural News, the vaccines are a sham. They don't work. No need to get one.
Yeah, but they're saying they're going to mandate it. So you're saying that the vaccination doesn't work. It doesn't prevent COVID-19 from you getting COVID-19 or any other variant that's going to come ahead with the vaccination. Is that what that article is saying?
That's what it just said.
Read it again for me, brother, please.
The COVID-19 virus pandemic is a scam, wrote one commenter at Natural News. The vaccines are a sham. They don't work. No need to get one. The people behind this scam are the powers that be that are intent on bringing the existing order to an end and replacing it with a government straight out of hell called the Great Reset.
That's what it's all about, people. They're going to reset the economy. It's going to be the total new world order. That's what this so-called pandemic is all about. Go ahead, brother.
No matter what the powers that be tell you, believe the opposite. Then you will be on the side of truth. Another suggested that the death toll from the jab is about to exponentially increase once winter fully sets in, and even more so throughout the next year. The leading cause of death of the young and minors will be STDs when they have no immune systems left, this person wrote. Just watch. The latest news about the Chinese virus injection scam can be found on chemicalviolence.com.
Wow. There you have it, people.
Read that last part again.
Okay.
The leading cause of death of young and minors will be STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, when they have no immune systems left.
Wow.
Just watch.
I mean, it's going to destroy your immune system completely. This is what you're dealing with. This is what you're dealing with. This is why we do the research that we do, so this information can be readily available to our people. So when your name is called by the Most High, and the Most High asks you these things, you took these jabs, and do you know your tribes, and did you seek counsel from an Israelite group to bring you certain information? And it's up to you Israelites to get this information when we bring it out to do with it as you will. But a lot of you all look at the information that we bring out to you, and you choose to do nothing about it. You want to sit down and be nothing and continue to go on with your lives and however you live. Black Friday, shopping for Christmas, buying turkeys for Thanksgiving and all the nonsense that you do. But things are seriously happening here in America. People are dying from these jabs. And the mainstream media is not telling you about it. And a lot of people is not telling you about it. Because why? Because everybody has been brought out by the establishment to keep this information to you. We probably the only group that's bringing out this information and how it's supposed to be brought out. Because one, we're not compromised by anybody. We speak freely coming, from the Most High, because the Most High wants us to bring this information out. This information needs to be brought out to our people so they can make the right decisions in regards to their children and themselves. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Back in the murder by injection, it says, "It is disturbing to see how the education has eagerly embraced each new offense against children in our schools, railing against any mention of morality or religion, while solemnly indoctrinating 6-year-olds in the advantages of, quote, an alternate lifestyle and their sexual preferences. The present goal of the National Education Association seems to be that teachers should hand out condoms to the class before beginning each day's activities. The urgency of my vaccination was not that there was any epidemic then raging in the city of Roanoke, nor has there been one in the ensuing 60 years. The urgency was that no child shall be spared the ministrations of the cult of Baal, or forego sacrifice on the altar of the child molesters.
We just read that to you. And what's that, Leviticus 18th chapter? We just read that to you. It's going back to the law for Israelites that, this is what we're not supposed to be participating in. Go ahead.
The medical monopoly cannot afford to have a single pupil escape the monetary offering to be paid for the compulsory vaccination, the tribute of the enslaved to their masters.
They sit there telling you that, you belong to us when you take these vaccinations. That's what you belong to the slave master. You belong to the powers that be. You belong to the Rothschilds, to the Rockefellers. You belong to them. Because what people don't understand is that a lot of these, people are dying from these injections, but also it's the chemical component also that's involved in these. I mean, the nano particles, the nanotechnology. All of this is part of that coming great reset that was read too, and we're going to go over that at a later date. But all these injections is really setting you up for the future as far as the nanotechnology.
Right.
All of that plays a part with the vaccinations as well. And we'll bring that out at a future date, but we're just going to focus on this part of the series first. Go ahead, brother.
From London comes an alarming observation from a practitioner of excellent reputation and long experience, Dr. Herbert Snow, senior surgeon at the Cancer Hospital of London, voiced his concern. Quote, in recent years, many men and women in the prime of life have dropped dead suddenly. Often after attending a feast or a banquet, I am convinced that some 80% of these deaths are caused by the inoculation or vaccination they have undergone.
It's killing people.
They are well known to cause grave and permanent disease to the heart. The coroner always hushes it up as natural causes.
See, that's what they do. They and the hospitals play a key role in that too, because they know a lot of people that come into the hospital with these various ailments, and they die because they took the vaccination, but they write it up as they died from something else. Because why? They're getting paid for that.
Yep.
They all in cahoots with one another. Go ahead.
You cannot find any such warning in any medical textbook or popular book on health. In fact, this writer was able to locate it in a small volume buried deep in the stacks of the Library of Congress.
They hide information. That's what they do. They hide information because they don't want this to get out to the public. Go ahead.
Yet, such an ominous observation from an established medical practitioner should be as widely circulated as possible, if only to be attacked by those who can refute its premise. At least it cannot be attacked by the establishment as quackery, because Dr. Snow is not attempting to sell some substitute for vaccination, but merely warning of its dangers. Miss Raymond.
Yeah.
At last, we have the breakthrough for which the American Cancer Society has been searching at such great expense and for so many years. Dr. Clark has never seen a case of cancer in an unvaccinated person.
Oh, whoa. Read that again. Read that again.
Wow. Wow.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
At last, we have the breakthrough for which the American Cancer Society has been searching at such great expense and for so many years. Dr. Clark has never seen a case of cancer in an unvaccinated person.
Wow.
It is not this a lead which should be explored? With such an impetus, the ACS could once again get the telephone banks ringing in the fundraising drives. to initiate positive research as to the possible connection between vaccination and the incidence of cancer.
Man, that dude's about to get put to death.
Somehow, we suspect that ACS will not follow this lead. It would also look well etched in stone above the imposing entrance to the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Quote, I never saw a case of cancer in an unvaccinated person. However, it is unlikely that the high priest of modern medicine will be able to give up one of the 4 commandments. It will be necessary for an outraged public to bring pressure to bear to abandon the modern ritual of sacrificing our children to Baal in a 5,000-year-old ritual called, in its modern version, quote, compulsory immunization.
Unbelievable, man. All the information, this is hidden information. This information has been hidden. But through my research, was able to get my hands on this because I found it fascinating. And they hide this information, man. This is hard to get this. But through the spirit of the Most High, I was able to get my hands on it and said, we need to talk about this because this is happening right now. And as you can see, these experimental vaccines is killing people. They killing off a lot of the American people and people abroad. Go ahead, brother, finish it off.
In the land where freedom rings, or is supposed to ring, it is even more surprising to find that every citizen is compelled to submit to a compulsory vaccination ritual. Here again, we are speaking of a civilization which is now being visited by 2 plagues, the plague of cancer and the plague of AIDS. Yet, compulsory vaccination offers no protection against the plagues which threaten us. It is goodbye whooping cough, goodbye diphtheria, and hello AIDS. The medical monopoly is searching desperately for some type of immunization against these plagues, and no doubt will eventually come up with some type of, quote, vaccine.
That's what they do.
Which will be more dreadful than a disease.
I want you to read that last part again because this is what they do. They create these different variances so they can come up with these vaccinations, man. Go ahead and read that again.
The medical monopoly is searching desperately for some type of, quote, immunization against these plagues, and no doubt will eventually come up with some type of, quote, vaccine which will be more dreadful than the disease.
So the vaccine is more dreadful than a disease. but people injecting themselves with this. It's more deadly than a disease. The vaccine is more deadly than a disease. But you see it on the commercials all the time. People running to get vaccinated. They got little jingles. People running to get vaccinated. 6-month-old babies, they want vaccinated. Come on, people. Really? Go ahead.
Oh, by the way, that book was published 1988.
1988, okay. 1988. Wow, okay. Thank you, brother.
From the outset, our most distinguished medical experts have proudly informed us that AIDS is incurable, which is hardly the approach we expect from those who demand that we accept their infallibility in all things to do with medicine. Another well-known medical practitioner, Dr. J.M. Peebles of San Francisco, has written a book on vaccine in which he says, the vaccination practice pushed to the front on all occasions by the medical profession through political connivance made compulsory by the state has not only become the chief menace and the greatest danger to the health of the rising generation, but likewise the crowning outrage upon the personal liberties of the American citizen. Compulsory vaccination, poisoning the crimson currents of the human system with brute extracted lymph under the strange infatuation that it would prevent smallpox was one of the darkest blots that disfigured the last century. Dr. Peebles refers to the fact that cowpox vaccine was one of the most peculiar, quote, inventions or discoveries of the age of enlightenment. However, as I have pointed out, quote, the curse of Canaan, the age of enlightenment was merely the latest program of the cult of Baal and its rituals of child sacrifice, which in one guise or another has now been with us for some 5,000 years.
So this is nothing new. They've been doing this, experimenting with vaccination. This is something that they've always, well, the other nations have done it. Israel hasn't done it, but this is something that they practice with those phony gods, Moloch and Baal Peor. These are the things that they did. This is why the Most High forbid us to congregate with the other nation, people of non-Israelite descent.
Right.
Go ahead.
The age of enlightenment was merely the latest program of the cult of Baal and its rituals of child sacrifice, which in one guise or another has now been with us for some 5,000 years. Because of this goal, the medical monopoly is also known as, quote, the Society for Crippling Children. If we suppose that physicians such as Dr. Snow and Dr. Peebles are trumpeting non-existent dangers when they write of vaccination, we have only to look at the court records of many cases around the country. Wyeth Laboratories was defended in a case in which a Wichita, Kansas jury recently awarded $15 million in damages to an 8-year-old girl. She incurred permanent brain damage after receiving a diphtheria pertussis tetanus vaccine. Michelle Graham received the immunization at the age of 3 months and incurred severe brain damage which left her permanently incapacitated. Her lawyers proved that the damage was solely attributable to the vaccine, although Wyeth's lawyers attempted to deny this.
Of course.
Because of the financial prospects, physicians are demanding earlier vaccination from children each year. The Vaccination Committee of the American Academy of Pediatricians recently demanded that the age for children to receive flu vaccine be lowered from the previous 24 months to 18 months. They are promoting a new version of flu vaccine which was said to have been tested on children in Finland. In an article in Science, March 4th, 1977, Jonas and Daryl Salk warned that, quote, live virus vaccines against influenza or poliomyelitis may, in which instance, produce the disease it intended to prevent. The live virus against measles and mumps may produce such side effects as encephalitis, which is brain damage. In vaccines,
I think it's encephalitis.
Encephalitis.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, brain
Right.
damage. If vaccines present such a clear and present danger to children who are forced to submit to them, we must examine the forces which demand that they submit. In the United States, vaccines are actively and incessantly promoted as the solution for all infectious diseases by such government agencies as the Center for Disease Control in Georgia, by WHO, USPHS, FDA, AMA, and WHO,
World Health Organization.
It is of more than passing interest that federal agencies should be such passionate supporters of compulsory use of vaccines.
See, they don't care about the American people. I mean, that's the number one thing that you have to understand. They do not care about the American people or the people abroad, nor do they care about your children. Go ahead.
It is of more than passing interest that the federal agencies should be such passionate supporters of compulsory use of vaccines, and that they also should go through, quote, revolving door to the big drug firms whose products they have so assiduously promoted.
See, that's what they do. Every time you turn on a commercial, what do you see? Promotion for a new drug. That's what it's all about. They want to continue this cycle of having the American public continue to rely on their medications and their vaccinations. This is something that they have done throughout centuries and that they continue to do. Go ahead.
And that they also should go through revolving door to the big drug firms whose products they have so assiduously promoted throughout their years of service to the public. It is these federal agents who have drafted the procedures which forced the states to enact compulsory vaccination legislation, which have been drafted by the attorneys for the medical monopoly. You want to continue or you start?
Yes, start like that.
All right, on page 85, it says Capitol Hill offered a standing reward during the years from 1954 to 1960 of $30,000, which he would pay to anyone who could prove that the polio vaccine was not a killer and a fraud. There were no takers.
Wow. But this is who you dealing with. You deal with, the scripture says, spiritual wickedness in high places. This is who you dealing with. Go ahead.
Medical historians have finally come to the reluctant conclusion that the great flu epidemic of 1918 was solely attributable to the widespread use of vaccines.
Wow.
There you have it. You can't make this stuff up, man. This is Esau's own information. That that's they hide everything in plain sight. But it's up to you to know how to get the information, and they don't want people to know this information. This is why you have, you got all kinds of apps and things, and this information is readily available, and yet it's not being talked about. Mainstream media don't talk about it. All these so-called people who have these shows and health shows, and nobody brings this information out because everybody's been compromised and have sold out to the establishment. Is why they don't want to come out and bring this information out, because they being paid by Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, because they want to continue this charade that the vaccination is good for humanity. Go ahead.
I got a precept right
Bring it out, Al.
Job chapter 13 verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies.
What? The scripture says ye are forgers of lies. Go ahead.
Ye are all physicians of no value.
Physicians of no value. This is who you dealing with. You dealing with physicians of no value, forgers of lies. And that's what they do. Because they promote this